What's going on, guys? Vic VP back with another Gamecase Arcades video. On this one today, we're going to be going full force, full detail. You know it. I'm going to talk your ear off. Talking about this heavily custom, built to the customer's needs, ViewLink style ByVic 55-inch, 2-player with 3 joysticks and 24-inch active marquee arcade cabinet. Get ready. I just shot the overview and I started talking. I was like, hold on, we got to save it for this one. Get ready. YouTube ads and all. Let's get into it. Let's talk about this cabinet. I'm going to push this away so we can see a little better. It's also proof of concept. There you go. You know the drill. If you're not following me on all the socials, what are you waiting for? What are you doing? Be sure to follow me at Vic_VP. Click the Linktree link down below. There's a whole thing where you can see my website and all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Be sure to also like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Do you want a custom-built arcade cabinet? Will you be using me for your future hopes and dreams? Let me know in the comment section down below. I just filmed the overview video and I was like, oh, I am rambling. And this video, I will ramble. I will talk because there is always a lot to talk about. Every build is unique. Every video, it's the same thing with me where I repeat myself and I just make my videos how I want. So again, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Be sure to follow all the socials. What are you waiting for? Go follow. That's a good camera angle right there. Pretty cool stuff in the garage. Again, holiday season is here. The holidays are here. I got a dedicated shooter getting lined up and ready to go. Bringing back those 4-player mounted guns for E-Rock. I got to get that done. That's going to be like the next thing. That's it. Then we have holiday orders and such. But again, today we're focusing on this very custom ViewLink style cabinet. Be sure to check out the overview. I'm going to basically repeat myself a little bit here and ramble as I go. But this is just amazing. And like I mentioned before in my other overview video, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to provide. And that is custom arcades. Custom. Some people, yes, they like the generic copy and paste. That's cool. But you get quite a few people that need custom built cabinets to their needs, to their specs. And this is a prime and beautiful example. 2 players, Vic, but 3 joysticks. Yes, pretty smart and genius on the customer's end. I'm not going to take any credit for anything that's done here. This is really good brainstorming. Again, customers sent me everything they wanted. I helped a little bit, give some insights and ideas, but all in all, this right here, you're looking at a customer's custom-built cabinet. This guy had a vision, and I just hope that I delivered that vision. Now, keep in mind the deal with this build, I was only commissioned to build the cabinet. So this right here is I build the cabinet, I cut the control panel, and I print and apply the vinyl. You're going to see though, Vic, you got buttons though. You got joysticks. Yes, customers send me the buttons and the joysticks. This is a prime example. We're going to explain later on about buttons and stuff. A prime example of I need the hardware in hand. I need it. I need it to ensure everything fits correctly. Again, I am only commissioned to build the cabinet. That is it. I am running right now my plug and play light gun PC build that's going out in about 2 days. So I'm going to be making the videos on that. You're going to see those videos with this cabinet as my test subject. It's a prime example of you could have an already existing cabinet or an existing TV. You just plug in the computer and install the sensors and go. So yes, I know you're going to see YouTube ads. I just literally have YouTube running and I have also OBS showing off active marquee stuff. That is it. So if you see the randomness, you'll understand what is happening. I'm the type of person when I film my videos, you kind of need to see the final product. You need to see what it looks like. Because if I don't put the TV in, if I don't put any image on the active marquee, you might not even know that there was an active marquee there. So I'm taking those extra steps to make sure that viewers get the entire perspective and illusion of what it would look like when the customer gets this in their hand. So very cool. Again, if you see a YouTube ad, deal with it. We'll start with some basics here. Again, the customer reaching out to me via email. I love it that I'm able to wheel this around. Yes, my ByVic cabinets have wheels on them. You need them to be portable, movable, and stuff. This right here, again, is defying the laws of gravity. It is crazy to me how deep that control panel is, and this is not tipping forward. It ain't gonna go nowhere. Awesome stuff. Because when I was building it, I was worried about tipping. I'm like, oh man, this is tipping. I'm also worried about, hey, like, what's supporting this? You can't see it, but there are 3 metal L's, 12-inch long L brackets supporting this. So this ain't gonna go nowhere. We don't have to worry about anything breaking and stuff. Awesome. It's just an amazing thing. Again, a customer came, emailed me with a vision, and I just hope I delivered. It was quite a task. And honestly, the end result is the best part of my job. It looks great once you actually get to in your hands and move it around and stuff. It's awesome. So like I mentioned before, the customer emailed me. I believe it started out on my website with my whole request form. You could send me a request. And the email chain just went. We probably have a good 100 emails going back and forth. I remember the original email, the initial email. He sent me a photo of Ray Arpeg Electronics 2-player that I built with the active Marquee. That was like the stepping stone. That was like, hey, Vic, I like that cabinet that you did for Ray, but I need something built for me. I need something a little bit unique. He even wrote there, he's like, this is gonna be something that you've never seen before. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let me know. Let's talk it over. He did mention to me he wanted a 2-player setup with 3 joysticks. And I'm like, what the hell? I was like, I think you're gonna have to draw me this control panel to get a better idea and stuff. Again, it's just great. Like I mentioned before, my biggest thing is that I want to offer custom arcade cabinets, and this is a prime example of a very custom arcade cabinet. My battery's gonna die, so let me change out the battery. And let's just talk about the control panel, because this right here is really the main thing that was customizable, and I needed to build it to the customer's needs. Now, the customer did tell me that he owns 2 ViewLinks cabinets in his home. He wanted, I guess, a 3rd one with a bigger screen, I would assume. The main thing, though, is that he was accustomed to this ViewLink style cabinet. What does that mean? Basically, the ViewLink style cabinets have a deep opening where you could sit and just put your feet under it without any issues at all. I have my little mouse there. So real quick, I'm gonna grab my stool. And as you can see, I'm able to sit and play just like a ViewLink style cabinet. Now, by me, I have a Round 1 arcade. They have several ViewLinks. ViewLinks, though, are very low to the floor. Like, you use a regular chair for a ViewLink. So I did tell the customer, I said, listen, I respect the idea of doing like a ViewLink style cabinet, but I've never done something that low to the floor. And he goes, no, I kind of want to use stool. I need it higher. You know, the ViewLinks are cool, but you have to sit. It's like you must sit. Whereas my style cabinet, ByVic's, you could have a high stool or you could play standing up. So it's like best of both worlds kind of thing. So this is really where the inspiration came about. He said, Vic, I want something where I could put my feet and my knees under it and I don't have to worry about bumping into the actual cabinet. Now, I did mention to the customer that my original ByVic cabs, like the one I have downstairs, all of the ones that I've built, you have enough room to put your legs under it without bumping into the actual cabinet. If you kind of really like measure out like your legs and stuff, you probably need like 10 to 12 inches of space. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna go like underneath it like this, although with this cabinet I could. But like this is like close. This is like, you know, you don't have to put the chair right underneath you. So it was cool. That was the vision. He said, Vic, I like your cabinet design. I like the big screen. I want to put a 65-inch. I just want it where I could put my feet underneath it. Also, with the ViewLink style cabinets that he has, he did request that he had originally 15 inches of depth from the center of this button layout to the edge of this control panel. I assume he measured his ViewLinks. He wanted 15 inches originally. Once I started and I got the idea and he sent me the drawing, I then put it inside of my software. I use SketchUp. I started building out this cabinet. And it's like, you know, you just see it from a computer screen. But once I put it on a 4x8 sheet of wood, I kind of realized, I'm like, whoa, this is like deep. This is like scary deep where I'm worried that the cabinet's gonna fall forward. And I mentioned to the customer, we started basically the build process, and the way I work, I'm gonna take a quick time out. The way I work, yes, I do have a wait list. Yes, I have people waiting a long time. That's A-okay in my book. But the biggest thing with me is that I have not, and I will not, and I never did, and I never do. I will not take your money until it is time to build. I'm looking right at the camera. I do not take your money until it's time to build. It's really sad because we have these fucking assholes from XGC or whatever the fucking company is from Australia that really pisses me off, that robbed people of $2 million worth of deposit. How it's mind-boggling to me. So yes, the way I've worked since 13 years of starting this, I've never taken a dime from anybody that's on my wait list until it is time to build. This customer was a little bit unique because he has a vision. And my big thing is to first make sure that the vision could be a reality. I built this cabinet without a deposit taken. And that's okay. On my end, it's okay. It's the risk I'm willing to take because my main concern was safety. I was like, I'm scared. I was legit scared. I'm like, I'm worried that this is gonna tilt forward. And I told the customer, I said, hey, listen, I'm gonna build this for you. I'm gonna send you pictures and all that. If you like it, you'll just pay me in full once this is done. I'm breaking you the honest truth. I right now spent money. I put custom artwork on this. I printed it. This is set, and I did not take a dime yet from the customer. I'm not lying. That's just how it is because that's just me as a human. I'm like, this guy has a great vision. I love it. I love that he thought of me to build a custom arcade cabinet. But I'm also the type where I don't want to take your money and then find out that this is like dangerous and now we have to redo it. And now the customer might be like, hey, you know what? I don't want this anymore. I might just get a regular view. My mind goes crazy with it. But yes, this is the little honest backstory behind it. Once I put the control panel drawing on a 4x8 sheet on the computer, I'm like, whoa, this is like deep. So what I did, I built the base. People don't understand this is two separate pieces. The base of the cabinet is standard. That is standard to all of my ByVics. So worst case, if this customer doesn't like it, I still have the base. I just wasted wood on the control panel. So the base was the first thing I built. Once I built that, I then took like a random piece of wood and I cut it to depth. And then that's where I was like, oh man, this is like deep. This is like scary deep. I said, you know what? We're gonna cut the control panel, and I cut the first panel. Coincidentally, or basically after I cut it, the customer kind of switched up a little bit, button sizes, and I had to cut another panel, and that's A-okay. I had to waste a sheet of wood, and that's okay. It's A-okay. Again, my main goal is to make sure that the customer gets what they want. They wanted this, and I will be sure to deliver. So like I mentioned, I did the original cut. I actually have it behind me. I grabbed it from outside. When I do these cuts for control panels, it's two cuts. You need to cut the actual top panel, and I have to cut the bottom panel. It's like two pieces. So this is where I mentioned before, and I mentioned to the customer, and he was very like, hey, Vic, man, if it's okay. I said, of course, it's A-okay. I just have to buy another sheet of wood. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. So this right now, again, the original cut was 15 inches. From the center of this to here, it was 15. Now, center of this to here is 12. So it's pretty cool. Now, as far as him, he's got the ViewLinks cabinet. ViewLinks cabinets have actually a ViewLinks button layout. I'll do some B-roll. Basically, the first two buttons is lower, and then the following three sets, they're like lined up perfectly. There's no curvature on the fingers. I've never cut a ViewLink style button layout, but I obviously did it for that. I personally, on my machines, and usually a standard for me, is that I do like, I don't know how to explain, I don't know what it's called, but it's like it's a curved layout. So you can see your fingers aren't like, it's not like three straight and one down. This is curved. This is how I like it, and I dig it. I don't like straight, but yes, another part of being custom, customer wanted a specific button layout. It's funny, I mentioned it many times, my CNC machine, it's a hobby grade machine, okay? Honestly, sometimes it's like off by millimeters, it's not that bad, but it is something where I have to do test cuts, and that's okay. That's part of what it is. And, you know, a new button layout means I have to do a test cut. And you'd be surprised. You'd think it's easy. Oh, it's a CNC. Just put, no, it's not that easy. I wish it was that easy. But basically, you got to make sure that the spacing is correctly. This way, when you do like your buttons and your nuts, you could make sure no nut is rubbing up against each other. It's quite a process. Now, the customer did request for these Sanwas buttons. He did see like Ray's video. So these buttons here are much shorter than a standard arcade button. What does that mean? I now have to take out about 1/4 of an inch of everything. Even when it comes to these Sanwa joysticks, you have to cut out 1/4 of an inch. People don't realize that this right here, this cutout here, that's about like an hour long to cut this out. How, Vic? Well, CNC, the router goes in, doesn't go all the way in. You can't go in 1/4 of an inch. The router bit just goes chaotic. It basically does like on this, it was 3 passes. But it's kind of crazy with these kind of cutouts. It cuts out like inside, and then it goes bigger and bigger and bigger. It's not like a regular square cutout. So it's a process. It is what it is, but it's okay. Now, like I mentioned before, when it comes to stuff like this, I tell customers all the time, you have to send me these buttons. I need these in hand to make sure that they fit, they drop in, there's no issues. These buttons right here, the diameter is a little bit bigger than your standard arcade button. I learned that when I was doing Ray's Quambas. Those Quambas were like fat. And you got to go to the CNC and you got to do test cuts. That's just what it is. So this is no different. I had to make sure that I had this, and I tested it. Now, originally the customer only sent me like 4 buttons, and that's okay. At least I have buttons where I could cut it and then test it and such. The first, I'll grab it real quick. We're already talking about it. So the first version, the customer was going to use all the same buttons throughout. This is my test cut here for the newer layout. But he was going to use the same buttons for the top here. And after I test cutted it, he did mention to me, hey, Vic, man, I'm sorry. We're actually going to go with like a 24mm button for the top. That's A-okay. Like I mentioned before, I have to cut out a new panel. And that's A-okay. No need to worry and such. So up top, you do have the 24mm buttons, and then down here, it's like the 30. Pretty cool. He's also got here the volume knobs and stuff. These, I've suggested these because I had them on my dedicated shooter. So pretty cool. He has 2 of them here. On the sides, player 1 here, you have a USB and headphone jack. You also have a rocker switch. We're going to talk about the 3 players now. But basically, this volume knob is going to be for the headphone jack here. Player 2 side, it only has the USB and the headphone jack. No rocker switch. Vic, what's this rocker switch? The rocker switch here is going to be able to swap from player 1 left to player 1 center. Like I mentioned before, the customer wants it where if he's going to play 2 players, your players are on the edges here. If he's going to play 1 player, though, he's going to be dead in the middle like I am during this whole video. Really cool, genius idea. And, you know, when you're playing 2 players, you don't want some cheater to go here and hit one of your buttons. So this switch here is going to disable the grounds on this. Again, everything I'm saying right now is what I suggested to the customer as far as how he is going to wire it. I did not wire this. There is no wiring whatsoever. No wiring was included with these buttons. Nothing at all besides the Sanwas. The Sanwas have your standard buttons to it. But yes, that's it. This is what he's getting. This also has a nice little convertible little hood. And there you go. That's up there. He's able to wire and such. As you can see, I have this row here. I have the nuts in, all set and good. He now messaged me. He may be changing the colors of his buttons. He thinks that possibly the blue is clashing with like the blue, or the white is clashing with the white. I don't know. Again, that is up to the customer there. And if he's going to swap out the buttons, that will be on his time. Pretty cool. Again, you can see it there. I am giving him these chrome cup holders. These have white LEDs. Again, no wiring was included in the job. So you have your power wires there. he'll do all that there. Again, your rocker switch here has 3 wires going to it, and you have now the USB and the headphone jack wires here. That's really it. That's honestly all it is. The inside of this, it's a good depth. It's about 3, it's like 3 1/8 of depth. So you have plenty of room to put stuff here, encoders and such. The joysticks don't interfere at all. Pretty cool, honestly. It's really great. Now, you can't really see it there. You could kind of see it there. And I'm going to bring you back. Like I mentioned before, the control panel here, originally without the 12-inch steel brackets I have on this, this was just flapping in the wind. And I was like, nope, safety. Let me put the 12-inch. So right here, I have these 2 wood strips going across here. That is to support the screws that go into the L bracket. So this also makes sure that you don't get a screw through your finger when you're working. So that's why there's 2 brackets here. It's also bracing a little bit of the actual control panel. But all in all, awesome stuff. Now it's really cool how I build my cabinets. Right here, you have 2 pass-throughs. This right here goes right into your cabinet. So you could put your USBs and stuff, and you don't have to worry about wires coming out in the rear and showing and stuff. So all in all, awesome stuff. I do give him this little kickstand. Once he wires and cleans up everything, we'll make sure that the kickstand's not in the way. Kickstand tucks away just like that, and your ledge drops. That's it. So now I got you in the front of the cabinet. It actually worked out perfectly. You right now, you cannot see, I don't know if you can see that, you're too far away, but you can't see the steel L brackets. The L bracket I got, it is on Amazon. It is 12 inches long by 6 inches like tall. This right here, it's a beefy boy. This right here is essentially the L bracket. Look at that. Look at that. Can you see that? 12 inches by 6. Awesome. When I put this against the wall, I also added support inside. I added an extra wooden brace. This way this doesn't blow out. And it was a must. I needed this. You have no idea. I needed this because without those steel brackets, there's 3 of them. You have 2 on the sides and 1 in the middle. Again, you can't see it, right? I want to make sure. No, you can't. You cannot see it. I'm going to drop you down and you'll be able to see it. Now, with these L brackets, not unfortunately, it worked out perfectly because the customer wanted straight black vinyl here. He wanted this black because he wanted the illusion of it floating. And I was like, oh, you know what? It worked. The L bracket, though, it is over the vinyl. So if we did, originally the artist gave me this paint splatter for the kick plate. The customer changed it to just black. If I would have kept the paint splatter, you're going to see the L. There's no way around that. There's no way. I can't do anything. Vic, can you maybe put the vinyl over it? No. It's going to like give you this bubble and it's going to look awful. This is the only way. Let me drop you down now because you're like, Vic, I don't see what you're talking about. Boom. There you go. I changed the ISO. You can't see me. I'm zoomed in, but you can see it now. You can see the edge of this right there. So you can see there your 3. Now, in all honesty, like you have to be far back to even see the bracket, but at least you could see, yes, it is there. And yes, it is a big supporting factor that needed to be done. I think we got the gist of the actual control panel. Again, this is the part that was very heavily customized. Now, keep in mind, like I mentioned before in my overview, when I build a cabinet, you have to make sure it fits through your door. And people don't realize that this is essentially 2 separate pieces. Like I mentioned before, the base of this is a standard ByVic arcade cabinet. So I don't say dimensions because I don't want people to copy me. There are a couple of copies of ByVic cabinets out there. If you are on my Discord, I've posted them. And I give you props for copying it. It's cool. But this is like, you know, it's got to come separate. This is not going to fit through anyone's doorway the way this is. So the ByVic base is separate from the controller, the control panel, I should say. Now you got to keep in mind that I don't think I'm going to do it in this video because again, I have to make a video about the light gun. Maybe I'll add it. So if I'm wearing a different shirt, it's okay. You'll understand why. Basically though, the control panel comes off. It does come off from the cabinet. It's being held down with several screws. There's a good like 10 screws on it. Each bracket has 2 And then you have like the base here has about 6, so 2, 4, 6, and 6. You got 12 screws that are like keeping this in place, and it's not gonna go anywhere. If I take the control panel off, you have the ByVic cabinet with this 12-inch bracket. And yes, if the customer, when he gets this, he's gonna have to take off the 3 12-inch L brackets to get it through the door, and then he'll just put it back. It works out perfectly fine. It's great how I do these like videos. I only use like 1.5 inch screw, whereas the customer, when he gets it, he's gonna get a 2-inch screw. So it's gonna have enough meat to grab on and stuff. Again, a lot of things to be considered, but yes, I believe the customer right now, I forgot where he's from. I think it's like South Carolina. He's actually planning to drive down and pick this up. I could deliver it. Delivery is always the customer pays the exact amount on the invoice. That is, I don't make money on delivery. If the delivery charge is $600, you pay $600. You don't pay me, you pay the freight company directly. So it was like these freaking ads. They're so stupid. So if the customer's gonna pick it up, cool. I'm gonna be able to live show him and stuff. I do usually make a separate video, like a tutorial on how to set it up, but honestly, it's basics. Everything is set. There's a nice little marking to show you where the center is, and you go with it. You can't really mess that up. Not to mention, like underneath where the L bracket is, if you look under, you could see the 2 screws, and you could just line them up, and boom, you're set. But yeah, that's honestly it as far as the customization of it. Like I mentioned before, the base of it, this base ByVic, it's standard. This is how I build all of my ByVics. He did see Ray Arpeg Electronics build, and he liked the big speaker. I think it's an 8-inch speaker that we have on here. Customer supplied the speakers. Again, he got these Rockvilles 5. It says 5.25 inch, but the actual like diameter is like 7. Because it's got like the bezel and stuff. So he's got a pair of these. He went with the black, whereas I guess Ray went with the white. Now we could talk real quick. I'll move you in closer. We could talk about the actual active marquee. I'm really happy with this because I found this marquee for the customer. People like active marquees, but they are expensive. They're expensive. Let me move the camera. Ray Arpeg Electronics had the actual Pixelcade. He had that because he had a Game Room Solutions cabinet, and the Pixelcade like fit perfectly with the Game Room Solutions. When the customer reached out to me and said, "Hey Vic, what's the link to that marquee?" I asked Ray, and Ray sent me the Pixelcade link, and it was like I think it was like a $700, $800 marquee. It didn't change the size. Unless Ray was like a 28-inch. I don't know. Was it? I don't know. Anyway, I found this one. This is on Amazon. This is a 24-inch VS display. And it looks great. It's an LCD display. It's not LED. And it looks awesome. This is a 1920 by 360 ratio screen resolution. Not ratio, screen resolution. So really cool. Right now, like I said, I have a random computer in this. So I have one display. You know, I have like OBS running for this, and then I have YouTube videos running for that. But it looks great. The big thing that people don't see, and it's funny they didn't see it in Ray's video, people don't understand, like, hey, Vic, man, like you have like a couple of inches here. Like maybe if I get the 28, no. People don't understand that there's an actual bezel on the screen. I luckily CNC cut out just the actual screen. You don't see the silver trim, which is about, I don't know, about 3/4 of an inch to an inch wide and deep. You also need some meat on the rear. Now, the thing about this, I'm going to take you in the rear. This display, cool, awesome stuff. It's kind of like built uniquely. The frame is like, I don't know, the wood I use is 3/4 inch wood. The frame, let's just say, is like 1/8 of an inch, like shallower than 3/4 of an inch. That's like the frame, but the actual screen itself, it's like indented. So I basically now put like cushion in the rear to make sure that there's, you know, this forces your display forward and instead of sinking it in. These freaking ads. Might as well change the marquee while I change this freaking ad. But yes, it's cool. It's awesome. Again, like this is like perfect. The actual Marquee, a lot of people complimented me on my Ray RPEG electronic setup. You know, it's not totally centered. It's a little bit higher. This way you can kind of see it from where you are. I think it's great. And honestly, this display I just looked on Amazon, it's a $300 display versus whatever the Pixelcade is. The only thing about this, again, I'm going to take you in the rear. You have a display, and then you have three. It's really two plus a controller. You have two boards that are totally separate. So now you have to mount these boards. Let's take a look at the rear. Doesn't it look great? It's like awesome. It's like great to see. It's kind of hard for you to tell, but the actual CNC cut, I left 1/8 of an inch. It's like no joke. It's very small. This way the vinyl wraps underneath it and stuff. So cool, right? I'm a little close, but that's A-okay. You can at least see the rear here. So again, you get your actual LCD Marquee, and then these are the two boards plus the third, which is like this random controller to like do brightness and stuff. I have to just mount that. I'm gonna basically, it's got two little holes, so I'll just probably mount it here and stuff. But yes, that is like the thing with this Marquee. Now, like I mentioned before, you can't really see it, but like you can kind of see it. The way this is like, the frame is out here, but the inside of this is like indented. So these left and right brackets that I make, I actually have some styrofoam in it. This way it pushes and forces the actual Marquee as close to the front as possible. So not bad, right? Pretty cool to see. Again, you have your speakers here. So conveniently, I put these here. This is the shelf. Like I said, this computer is not going to be here. The customer is going to be putting a PC on the shelf here. I'll probably raise you up so you can see it better. So I have a shelf here for the customer. He did request this. The amp, the audio amp is gonna go, I'm not gonna take it out. The audio amp is gonna go around here. I didn't bolt that down because maybe he wants to move it. But the idea is that this shelf is gonna house the actual computer and the audio amp. So this right here, I did a 15-inch shelf. This way you could fit a computer motherboard on it. So again, audio amp will be here. I'm gonna let the customer do that. I don't wanna put a hole in the shelf. The shelf is removable. I just don't want to touch that power, the plug, but that comes out. It's not bolted down. It's just gravity fed and cool. You still have this open cavity here. I do have a regular standard desktop PC right here. He's not going to go that route though. You also do have on the bottom here, we have two vent holes. I could bring it down a little. Two vent holes. You could let me know how many vent holes you want. Customer was okay with two. He's going to do the fans and such. With this, I always do paint the edge, because if I don't paint the edge, then you're going to see the wood. So I always paint the edge black. That's why you kind of see a little bit of the black here, but that's okay. This is the rear of the cabinet. I am giving him this power switch, but no power strip. That wasn't part of the deal. I cut it out for this, and I have a bunch of these laying around, so I'm going to give that to him. But essentially right now, that's it. That is what the inside of an arcade cabinet looks like. It's just bare. It's always an empty cavity. It's more about how do you fill the space. So pretty cool. We talked about the customization on it. We talked and looked at the actual inside of the cabinet and stuff. Let's talk about the actual artwork. So this one right here, I did use Gason Designs. From this point on, honestly, going as far as in-depth custom artwork, I will resort to using Gason Designs. This is what he does. He makes artwork. So I have like a certain level of Photoshop, but he has a whole different level. I think he went to school for graphic design. So be sure to check out Gason Designs. He's on Instagram. You can see his other stuff and such. I may look and maybe ask him to maybe change up or kind of tweak my Time Crisis cabinet artwork, but that's for a later day. When it comes to these graphic artists, you could use anybody you want. I basically just supply you the template, and you could then give it to your artists and stuff. So same thing when I have with Gason. This customer here, I said, hey, I can make you the artwork, but if you're looking for like a very, very custom in-depth, you got to speak to Gason. I sent him Gason's info, and then Gason takes over. I am not a middleman in that. You know, just talk to the graphic designer. Let him do it. If you need to change iterations, you deal with him. What did he charge? I have no idea. The customer dealt with that on Gason's end. That's how I work. I'm not going to be the type that's going to say, hey, listen, it's $600 for custom art. Because then that will translate into, hey, I don't like the version you made, redo it. And now I have to tell Gason, and now Gason might tell me like, oh, Vic, I got to do it again. It's going to cost you. You just talk to the designer on your end. Again, basically I supplied a template. It's a again, you got to keep in mind when artwork is printed, it's a very tall rectangle. There's artwork printed for this here, this empty space, there's artwork here. Once I lay it, it obviously gets cut. And yeah, it came out great. I think it looks awesome. Again, we have here Street Fighter Alpha 2 and Street Fighter Alpha 3 on the side. It looks beautiful. I like really dig it. I think it looks awesome. And again, the customer did all that on their end. Gasson just emailed me the final art. That I then take it to my vinyl printer and we print. I do ask, do you want gloss? We do have gloss print on this. Do you want matte or do you want the texture? I don't do plexiglass. I cannot cut plexiglass. It will melt on my CNC. So I go to this textured vinyl. It's really nice. It's durable. It's meant for like floors. Like you're meant to step on this. And I've used it for years and I like it. So gloss all around. So gloss sides, gloss marquee, gloss speaker panel. There is artwork also on this panel here. The actual TV mount, there is artwork there, yes. And the whole thing is covered. As far as also the control panel, right here, the control panel ledge, customer went gloss on this. So it's gloss everywhere except for the actual control panel. The control panel is the textured vinyl. Pretty cool. Now, in all honesty, on the designer, the Gasson's end, it took about a month, 3 weeks to a month to get like the artwork. So if you look back on my videos and I'm talking about like, stay tuned for this custom two-player with 3 joysticks, yeah, that's in reality, that's what it took. It took a while, but I don't know. It is what it is. That's what it is. At least the customer approved all of the vinyl. Like I mentioned before, Gasson made this paint splatter even for the kick plate, but last minute change from the customer. Customer said, Vic, just don't print it. You know, we want like a floating illusion. And I said to the customer, I said, listen, I still have to print something. If I give you the bare wood, like it's going to show you chips. So I said, I'll print a black vinyl. And that's what I did. So yes, this panel right here, it's a black sticker. It's black vinyl. Yes, I have to print it or else you're going to have bare wood, which in all honesty, all the rear of the cabinets, you're going to see like the chips, but that's the rear of the cabinet. Unless you're like Project Canada, I did apply a vinyl rear. That entire rear is vinyl sticker. So, but Project Canada has his cabinet like in the middle of the room. So it is what it is. But all in all, this is like awesome. And again, I wasn't commissioned to do wiring or PC. There's no games included on this. It is just the cabinet alone. And I think it came out amazing. I hope that the customer really enjoys it. This is what I want to do. This is the satisfaction I got where this person emailed me. We didn't even talk about pricing. It was just more about, hey, like, what's your like vision? What do you want? And this is the end result. It's funny. I just posted the short and somebody automatically, oh, that doesn't look right. It's too deep. This wasn't built for you. This was built specifically for a specific customer. When you're ready to build yours, you let me know. That's what I tell everybody. It's funny, this morning I'm getting like what is this? I'm not bolding. Why does like YouTube show random ads of stuff that I don't even look up? Then again, this is like a new PC build, so there's not even an account logged in. Either way, it's funny, like somebody replied to like an old comment of mine on a video, and they're like, oh, you don't take like negative criticism lightly. I'm like, how am I supposed to take it? Like, what the fuck? It's like, I reply to all the comments, I read all the comments, but it's just like, what do you want me to just stand there and accept it? No, I'm gonna fucking comment back. I just tell people, listen, it's just, you have your opinion, I get it, but don't rain on somebody's parade. It's nothing to do with this customer. Right? I said, I posted this short and somebody's like, oh man, that looks like deep, like that doesn't look comfortable. I'm like, this is what the customer wanted. When you want your cabinet, and then people go, oh, you're too expensive. Okay, so go the fuck over there. Now, the last thing to mention, again, this TV here, this is a 55-inch screen. This is actually from my dedicated shooter downstairs. I have to put something here because without it, it's like, what is that? Like, what? That's an arcade cabinet? I have to give you the illusion. The customer originally said he's going to put a 65-inch curve on this. That would probably be the biggest screen that I've seen on a ByVic. It's doable, but I am giving him the TV mount and the TV arms. So I measured everything out. I did ask, you know, what's the spacing from the bottom of your TV to the bottom base amount. As you can see right now with this, it's a 55-inch. You could always drop the TV down if you want, but you still have some good clearance. So just keep that in mind. This is not the TV. The TV was not included, but I am giving him the TV mount and the TV arms, obviously. So he's going to put the PC side. He's going to do the wiring side and such, but it's just pretty cool to see. Again, if I just didn't have a screen, it'd be like, what is that? But yes, there you go. That's the screens on this. But there you have it. A very custom. And I just hope that the customer loves his custom built to his specs arcade cabinet. I think it looks great. I think it's amazing. It's going to be great for photos, and it just shows people, you know, what I wanted to do, and that is to build custom arcades. Custom, yes, custom to the T. This is very custom. So yes, VicVP Gamecase Arcades. Congratulations to the owner of your heavily customed ViewLink style ByVic. 2 players with 3 joysticks and that 24-inch active marquee. If you want a custom arcade, let me know. VicVP Gamecase Arcades. It's beautiful, man.